There's a plant sitting quietly in someone's kitchen right now. Maybe it's sitting near the sink, maybe near the window. Its leaves are glossy, it's healthy. But something about the room still feels off. A little colder, a little more distant. And they can't quite put their finger on why. We don't always think of plants as part of a home's energy, but they are. The wrong one can shift the feel of a room. Not dramatically, not like a broken appliance or a bad smell, but subtly, slowly. One day you realize the kitchen doesn't feel as welcoming as it used to. You eat faster, you talk less at the table, and you stop lingering in the space that once held your mornings, your meals, your quiet comforts. Some plants are beautiful, but their shape carries a defensive energy: sharp leaves, upright spears, pointed edges. These are the plants that look strong but feel cold. They signal stay back even if you can't name it. And in spaces like the kitchen where warmth, harmony, and nourishment should gather, those silent signals matter. Now imagine replacing that same plant with something softer. Round leaves, warm color, a gentle curve. Suddenly the space breathes. The air feels fuller, like something invisible has shifted back into place. You don't need to be an expert to feel it. You just need to pay attention. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 plants, some that quietly protect your wealth and well-being, and others that might be working against you without you realizing it. This isn't about superstition. It's about sensitivity. About becoming more aware of what's influencing the mood, the money, and the energy in the space you move through every single day. Let's take a closer look, because sometimes the smallest shift in what you place changes everything that flows. Plant 1. Jade plant. There's something quietly comforting about round shapes. A circle feels complete, safe, whole. It's no accident that coins are round. Plates, wedding rings, the face of a warm kitchen clock. These are the everyday things that hold meaning, rhythm, and continuity. So when you see a jade plant, its plump, glossy leaves shaped like tiny green coins, there's something instinctively reassuring about it. It doesn't shout for attention. It just stands there, balanced and full, almost as if it remembers what it was planted to protect. The jade plant is often called the money plant, but not in the loud, gimmicky way some trends come and go. Its nickname wasn't born from marketing, it came from years of quiet observation. Home after home, business after business. The spaces where jade plants thrived had a pattern: steady flow, grounded decisions, fewer money leaks. Not windfalls or lottery wins, just stability. And in today's world, isn't that the real wealth? In feng shui, shape and color matter because they signal the type of energy something brings. Round leaves suggest abundance. Their deep green, sometimes kissed with a soft jade hue, carries the energy of wood growth, renewal, and metal, which represents wealth. That balance is rare. Most plants are mostly one or the other. But jade stands between. It anchors, it harmonizes. And the place it works best is right where daily life pulses most: your kitchen. Think about it. The kitchen isn't just where food is made, it's where conversations begin and end. Where bills are opened, meals shared, and worries voiced. It's also where energy moves quickly. Heat from the stove, water from the sink, metal appliances humming, the earthy smell of fresh fruit or warm bread. The 5 elements: fire, water, earth, wood, and metal are all in motion here. When balanced, they support you. When disrupted, they drain you. That's why what you add to a kitchen matters, especially something living. Now here's the truth: jade doesn't demand much. That's part of its magic. It thrives in indirect light. It holds water in its leaves like a memory, quietly, patiently. You don't need to hover over it or have a green thumb. In fact, it doesn't like to be fussed over. Give it a spot with soft, natural light near a window, or the edge of a counter that catches the sun for part of the day. The goal isn't spotlight, it's presence. It just needs to be there, alive, well kept, and still. But placement matters. Put a jade plant near your kitchen entrance, and it becomes a quiet sentinel greeting each family member, holding the line as energy moves in and out. Set it on your dining table, and it becomes a companion to every meal, absorbing the emotion of shared time. Wherever you place it, make sure it doesn't get crowded. Jade likes space, not too much, but enough to be seen, to breathe. And here's a detail many overlook: the pot. It's tempting to leave plants in the plastic containers they came in. But for jade, that's like dressing a violin in plastic wrap. It plays better when it feels honored. A ceramic or clay pot, in soft earthy tones or calming neutrals, enhances its energy. Avoid harsh blacks or shiny metals. You want something that speaks warmth and longevity, not noise or distraction. And once it's placed, treat it as more than decor. Wipe its leaves. Notice when they wrinkle or spot. That's not just about water, that's energy. Dusty leaves dull the light, both literal and energetic. When jade shines, it reflects. And when it reflects, it amplifies the yang energy that keeps your home awake, alive, and aligned. Now here's the subtle part, easy to miss, but powerful when you see it. The jade plant grows slowly. It's not a vine that spills over quickly or a flower that bursts open overnight. It takes its time. Each new leaf is a quiet decision. That rhythm is exactly what makes it powerful for attracting and holding wealth. It reminds you that good fortune doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it grows, leaf by leaf, in silence. And if you're present, you'll notice it. But don't mistake stillness for weakness. A neglected jade plant, one left to dry out or abandoned in a dark corner, doesn't just wither physically. It sends a signal. In feng shui, a dying plant in the kitchen is like a frayed cord. It drains. Not just water or light, but energy. Money, mood, motivation. That's why this isn't about superstition, it's about intention. If you're going to place a jade plant in your kitchen, do it with care. Because what it mirrors back isn't just growth, it's respect. So ask yourself, is there a space in your kitchen that feels empty, not physically, but energetically? A corner that used to be lively, but now just exists? That's where your jade plant belongs. Not to fill the room, to ground it, to hold what matters. In a world that rushes, it stays. In a home that moves, it centers. And in a life that wants more steadiness, it quietly offers just that. Jade isn't flashy. But then again, neither is a strong foundation. And sometimes, placing the right plant in the right place isn't about changing how your kitchen looks. It's about changing how it feels and what it allows to grow. Plant a 2, golden pothos. Some plants brighten a room, others soften it. But the golden pothos does something different. It doesn't just sit in your kitchen like a decoration, it moves through it like breath. You won't hear it. You might not even notice it at first. But if you stand quietly, especially in the morning when light slips in through the window, you'll see how its golden streaks catch the sun just right. And in that moment, the air feels a little lighter. The room feels a little kinder. And your whole space exhales. The golden pothos is a climber, a trailing vine with heart-shaped leaves dusted in gold. And while it's known for being hardy and easy to grow, what makes it truly special, especially in feng shui, is its energy pattern. This plant flows. It doesn't push or spike or stand still. It weaves gently, the way good energy should in a kitchen. Think about what happens in that space. Fire roars, water runs, metal clinks, steam rises. Everything is in motion, sometimes too much motion. The golden pothos is the balancing act. It's the whisper in the noise, the cooling hand on a heated moment. It brings continuity to a space that often lives in extremes. In feng shui, the kitchen is not just where meals are made. It's where energy feeds your family. The energy of nourishment, of provision, of togetherness. When the kitchen is out of balance, too much heat, too many sharp angles, too many clashing materials, you feel it. You may not name it as energy, but you'll feel less rested when you cook. You'll rush through meals. You'll avoid being in there longer than necessary. That's when something as simple as a plant makes a difference. And not just any plant, a plant that knows how to circulate energy without disturbing it. Golden pothos is soft, but don't mistake softness for weakness. Its vines grow steadily and reach for light. Its leaves open like little hands receiving warmth, and it doesn't just grow outward, it grows around. It follows surfaces, edges, corners, without forcing its way. That's the kind of energy you want in a kitchen, especially if your life outside the kitchen is already loud, demanding, or unpredictable. The plant becomes a quiet rhythm against the clutter, and with its subtle golden marbling, it reflects light not harshly, but warmly, like morning sunlight filtering through curtains. But it's not just beauty. In feng shui, gold is the color of wealth. Not the flashy, unstable kind, but lasting prosperity. Quiet confidence. The kind of abundance that builds over time and stays. The golden pothos, with its streaks of soft yellow gold, brings that vibration into the space. Especially when it catches sunlight from the east, the direction of growth and new beginnings. That's why one of the best places to set this plant is in the eastern part of your kitchen. Morning light activates its color, and its energy flows with the natural rhythm of the day. Now here's where it gets practical. Golden pothos is forgiving. You don't have to water it daily. It thrives in indirect light. If you forget about it for a few days, it doesn't hold it against you. It grows anyway. That's why so many people love it. It's beautiful, low maintenance, and quietly loyal. But here's the part most people don't talk about. Even easy plants need boundaries. If left completely unchecked, golden pothos will grow wildly. It will sprawl across surfaces, curl around cabinets, and slowly take over. What began as graceful can become chaotic. And in feng shui, overgrowth is just as disruptive as stagnation. That's why trimming is essential, not just for aesthetics, but for energy. When you prune this plant gently, mindfully, you're shaping the flow of energy in your space. You're telling the room, I'm paying attention. I'm creating space, not just filling it. A well-shaped golden pothos reflects care, presence, intention. These are subtle cues, but your space responds. You respond. Because how we tend to small things often mirrors how we tend to ourselves. Another overlooked detail, the pot. We often underestimate the visual weight of plant containers. A beautiful pothos in a cheap plastic pot loses some of its energy. But place it in a ceramic or stone pot, soft beige, terracotta, off-white, and suddenly the plant looks more grounded, more respected. That message, whether we notice it consciously or not, affects how we relate to the room it's in. A thoughtfully placed, gently trimmed, beautifully potted pothos becomes more than greenery. It becomes an anchor of flow. Now let's pause here and go deeper, not into theory, but into lived experience. Maybe you've had mornings where everything feels rushed. You burn the toast. The coffee drips too slow. Someone's looking for lost keys. There's a tightness in the kitchen, not in the space, but in the air. That's not just stress. That's accumulated imbalance. Kitchens hold memory, movement, routine. When those things spiral, so does the energy. But a golden pothos growing calmly near your window, quietly curved along a shelf, sends a different signal. It says, slow down, breathe here. This is a soft space. That's the real reason golden pothos works in feng shui. Not because it's trendy or exotic or rare, but because it supports the rhythm we forget we need. A rhythm of quiet growth, flexible energy, soft edges, and lasting beauty. The kind that doesn't scream for attention, but catches your eye when you need it most. So if your kitchen feels like it's holding its breath, or if it's too loud, too sharp, too tired, consider this plant. Not as a solution, but as a gentle invitation to shift. Place it where morning light lands. Trim it with care. Choose a pot that feels peaceful. And let the energy unfold from there. You don't need to change everything. Just one thing. One flow. One golden thread to pull softness back into the heart of your home. Because sometimes the most powerful changes aren't dramatic. They're quiet. They trail gently across a wall. They catch the light. And they remind you without a word that energy is always moving. And that you get to shape how it moves through your space. Plant 3, basil. You might have basil growing in your kitchen right now. It's probably sitting in a small pot by the window, reaching toward the sun. You pick a few leaves now and then for cooking. Maybe you smile when you smell it. It's familiar, practical, a kitchen herb. But what if I told you basil is more than flavor? What if it's actually one of the most honest plants you can grow and one of the most revealing when it comes to your home's energy? Basil is a truth teller. Not in words, not in drama, but in how it lives or fails to. If the energy in your kitchen is clean, balanced, and cared for, basil thrives. It grows upward with strong stems, full leaves, and a bright, peppery scent that quietly fills the air. But if something's off, too much heat, stale air, emotional tension, you'll see it. Basil reacts fast. Leaves curl. Stems droop. The plant turns inward. It closes itself off. And in that moment, it's showing you something about the space you live in that maybe you haven't wanted to see. Feng Shui isn't just about adding things, it's about learning to listen. And basil helps you listen. It's sensitive to light, to airflow, to water. But more than that, it's sensitive to presence. When you tend to it mindfully, basil responds almost instantly. Its scent gets stronger. It grows fuller. It's a plant that rewards attention with energy, and that's why it belongs in your kitchen. Because the kitchen isn't just where meals are made. It's where moods rise and fall. Where people walk in carrying the weight of their day and leave either lighter or heavier. A fresh cup of tea can change a mood. A quiet breakfast can reset a mind. The kitchen holds all of that. And basil, in its quiet, fragrant way, becomes part of that emotional weather. Not as decor, as a signal. That's why placement matters. Basil belongs near a window where air flows, light enters, and the energy is most alive. Not tucked in a dark corner. Not behind clutter. It needs room to breathe, and so do you. When you place basil in that kind of space, you're not just giving it what it needs. You're making a statement about what you need. Air, light, simplicity. A reminder that something fresh is still possible. And here's the beautiful paradox: basil gives more than it takes. You don't need a green thumb. You don't need complicated schedules. A little water, a little light, a little presence, that's all. But you do need to show up. When you do, basil becomes more than a plant. It becomes a routine, a ritual. You touch the soil, and you remember what grounding feels like. You pinch a leaf, and your kitchen smells better instantly. You cook with it, and your food isn't just seasoned, it's alive. And in that moment, something shifts. You remember that home isn't just walls, it's rhythm. And basil helps you return to it. Now let's talk energy. In feng shui, basil is pure yang. It doesn't just sit passively, it radiates. Its scent travels, it fills spaces, it uplifts. That's why basil is associated with wealth, protection, and spiritual clarity across cultures, not just in Asia, but in Europe, the Mediterranean, the Americas. It has a global energy, and that energy is both activating and cleansing. When it's present, things feel more awake. That's not superstition. That's life force, prana, kai, breath, whatever you want to call it, moving freely through a living organism, and through your space. And basil is honest about what it needs. If the light is too harsh, it burns. If the soil is too wet, it rots. If the air is stagnant, it pulls inward. It teaches you balance, if you listen. Because caring for basil isn't just about the plant, it's about practicing mindfulness. And what starts with a few minutes by the windowsill becomes a way of being. You step into the kitchen slower, you notice more, you breathe deeper. And here's something deeper still: you can grow basil from seed. And when you do, the entire process changes. You plant something small and wait. You water. You wait again. One day something breaks through the soil, a stem, 2 leaves. It's almost nothing. But it's not. It's momentum, life declaring itself. And you get to be part of it. Watching it grow connects you to your space in a different way. You're not just maintaining energy, you're co-creating it. So if your kitchen feels dull, if your mornings feel rushed, if your meals feel like routines instead of nourishment, basil is not just a herb. It's a reset. It's a way back to awareness. And in feng shui, awareness is everything. That's where alignment begins. Not in theory, but in touch, in scent, in rhythm. Let's be clear, basil won't solve your money problems. It won't fix your family overnight. But it can shift the atmosphere where those things play out. It can make your kitchen feel like a space that's alive again, like a space that responds. And in a world that so often feels unresponsive, that matters. So here's the question: is your kitchen breathing or just functioning? Is it holding energy or just holding stuff? Basil doesn't need much to grow. Just intention, just consistency, just the kind of attention you wish the world gave you. Maybe that starts here, with a simple green plant, by a window, in the room where your day begins. Because sometimes healing doesn't look like transformation. Sometimes it looks like one small plant, one living signal, one honest leaf catching the light and saying quietly, this space is still sacred, and it's ready to come alive again. Plant 4, snake plant. Some plants are meant to soften a space, others brighten it. The snake plant doesn't do either. It doesn't trail gently over shelves or bloom in bursts of color. It doesn't charm you with fragrance or flutter in the breeze. The snake plant simply stands, upright, unmoving, unapologetic, like a quiet figure who knows its place and keeps it steadily, silently, without asking for attention. And sometimes, that's exactly the kind of energy a home needs. You don't realize how much movement there is in your home until something stops, until something stays still long enough to make you feel grounded again. In a world that constantly pulls you in different directions, notifications, schedules, conversations, it's easy for a home to become another place of constant motion. The kitchen, especially, is full of shifting energy: steam, sound, smells, conversations, heat, cold, emotions layered on top of each other. It's one of the most active rooms in your house, and when its energy becomes scattered, so do you. That's why the snake plant matters. It anchors. In feng shui, it's considered a stabilizer, a living object that doesn't just exist in a room but reinforces its energetic structure. With sword-like leaves that stretch upward, its posture sends a clear message: this space has boundaries. This space is held. And unlike softer plants that invite energy in all directions, the snake plant does something more protective. It says no further. It holds the line. Placement is essential. Put a snake plant near a refrigerator or in a corner close to a kitchen door, and it becomes an energetic shield. Think of all the places in your kitchen where energy leaks out: the cold air that rushes in every time someone opens the fridge, the breeze from a window that cuts through the warmth, the corner that always feels colder, emptier, disconnected from the rest of the room. The snake plant doesn't stop these movements, but it absorbs and redirects them. It creates balance between the extremes. And there's something else. Because of its upright, slightly rigid appearance, people often assume the snake plant is cold or unfriendly. But that's a misunderstanding. Its energy isn't cold, it's clear. It doesn't apologize for taking up space. It doesn't bend to please. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of presence we need more of in our homes. A reminder that we don't always have to soften. That strength, when grounded in quietness, can be healing too. Let's talk care. The snake plant is one of the easiest houseplants to maintain. It doesn't mind low light. It tolerates dry air. It can go days, weeks even without water. But don't mistake its resilience for a license to neglect it. What it asks for is respect. Give it a sturdy pot. Wipe the dust from its leaves once in a while. Check the soil not too wet, not too dry. Like a calm friend, it doesn't ask for much, but it notices everything. Now here's where energy gets personal. The snake plant is particularly powerful for people who feel emotionally drained after spending time in the kitchen. Maybe it's where you feel most responsible: meals, cleanup, family expectations. Maybe it's where you multitask, cook while worrying, clean while thinking about tomorrow. That emotional exhaustion accumulates. It lingers in corners, settles into the air. And over time you feel it not as chaos, but as heaviness. The snake plant works in those spaces. Not to lift the mood like basil or circulate energy like pothos, but to restore structure. To hold the room in place when you're too tired to. It's also a perfect plant for people who struggle with decision fatigue. In feng shui, too much scattered energy in a space can lead to unclear thinking, difficulty focusing, overreacting to small things, feeling mentally cluttered. The snake plant's verticality, its strong lines, its stand-tall posture, these aren't just aesthetic. They speak to the energy of clarity, of direction. It helps pull things together not just in the room but in your mind. And visually there's a quiet confidence to the snake plant. Its leaves rise like pillars. Some varieties have green and silver striping, others are edged in gold. But none are flashy. They're architectural, strong. They look like they belong in spaces where things are built to last. That's the kind of energy you want in your kitchen, especially if you're building something: a family rhythm, a health routine, a financial plan. The snake plant doesn't help you dream. It helps you hold the line while you make those dreams real. Let's not romanticize too much. The snake plant isn't magic. It won't fix the way your family talks to each other or solve the stress of modern life. But it will give you one thing that's increasingly rare: a still point. A moment of uprightness. A visible, touchable symbol of resilience. And in feng shui, symbols matter not as superstition, but as reminders. Anchors. They affect how you move through space, how you breathe, how you focus, and that's real power. So if your kitchen feels scattered, if you find yourself rushing through it, dropping things, forgetting why you came in, consider the snake plant. Place it not where it decorates, but where it guards. Where it holds energy. Where you most often lose yours. Because sometimes the loudest way to support a home isn't through movement or color or sound. It's through stillness, through presence, through the quiet authority of something that simply stands its ground and, by doing so, gives you permission to do the same. Plant 5. Anthurium. Some plants don't just change a space, they change the way people treat each other inside it. The anthurium is one of those plants. It doesn't ask for attention, but it always gets noticed. Its leaves are glossy, shaped like hearts. Its flowers stand upright, bright red, sometimes pink like tiny flames that never flicker. It's a plant that brings presence. And in the kitchen, presence is everything. The kitchen isn't just a place of ingredients. It's where stories get stirred into meals. It's where silence sits between bites, where glances are exchanged more than words. Sometimes it's where conflict simmers. Sometimes it's where forgiveness begins. A room like that needs more than function, it needs warmth. And anthurium brings that warmth not loudly but with quiet beauty. In feng shui, red represents the fire element: passion, action, vitality. But fire, when unbalanced, burns. It creates tension, overreaction, emotional spikes. That's why the anthurium is so special. It carries fire but softens it. Its red is not chaotic, it's grounded, contained, offered with elegance. That's why it's ideal for kitchens where energy tends to run high: lots of cooking, multitasking, emotions, conversations. The anthurium doesn't suppress that fire. It holds it, redirects it, turns it into something connective. Place it near the dining area or a window where natural light filters through. This plant thrives in soft brightness, not harsh sunlight. When it blooms well, it's a signal that energy is balanced. Meals feel less rushed, conversations linger. You sit longer, chew slower, speak with more kindness, not because of the plant, but because the energy it holds shapes the energy you give. And there's something intimate about it. The heart-shaped leaves, the upward bloom. It's subtle, but it sends a message there's love here, even if unspoken, even if quiet. And in a kitchen where family gathers, where lives overlap in the most mundane ways that matters more than we realize. But here's the thing, the anthurium is honest. Like basil, it reflects the space it's in. Too much heat, it wilts. Not enough light, it stops blooming. When the balance is off, the plant lets you know. And that's not failure, that's feedback. It's an invitation to check in with your environment, not just physically, but emotionally. Is there too much tension in the house? Has routine overtaken connection? Is the kitchen just a station or still a center? The care it requires is simple indirect light, regular watering, and a little room to breathe. It's not fragile, but it is particular. Respectful attention is enough. And that becomes part of the practice. You walk by, you notice the leaves, you trim a browning edge, you check the soil, and in doing so, you slow down, you tune in, you reconnect with the space. There's a story I often come back to, one I heard from a woman who placed an anthurium near her dining table. She didn't think much of it at first, just liked the look. But over time, something changed. Her family, who once ate at different times, began gathering again. The conversations softened, arguments faded. I don't know if it's the plant, she told me, but something about the room feels more alive. I smiled. Not because the plant is magic, but because the energy was ready and the plant made it visible. Anthurium at its core is a harmonizer. It doesn't shout wealth or luck, it whispers connection. And in feng shui, connection is prosperity. Not just money, but emotional richness. The kind that lasts when the bills are paid and the dishes are clean. The kind that makes a house feel whole. That's why if your kitchen feels cold, not physically, but emotionally, this is the plant I recommend. If your meals feel rushed, if your family sits together but doesn't feel together, if the kitchen has lost its glow, place an anthurium there, not as a centerpiece, as a quiet offering, a heart on a stem, a little fire held in green. And remember, its beauty depends on rhythm. You don't need to overcare. Just don't forget. Just like love, just like harmony, a little sunlight, a little air, a little attention, the plant will respond, and slowly so will the room. In the end, it's not about the flower. It's about what you become in the presence of something that grows slowly, intentionally, beautifully. It's about the way your energy mirrors your surroundings, and how one plant can remind you without words what kind of atmosphere you're creating, and whether it reflects the life you truly want to live. So if you're ready to shift the energy not with force, but with warmth, anthurium is a beautiful place to begin. Not for what it demands, but for what it reflects. Quiet love, balanced fire, and a space that feels once again like home. Warning section: the plants that drain fortune. Trailing vines, soft look, hard loss. Some plants look gentle. Their leaves fall softly, vines curl like ribbons, and when the sunlight hits just right, they sway as if they're dancing. It's easy to love trailing vines. They feel romantic, relaxed, even cozy, especially in kitchens. You might see them cascading from a high shelf, curling around a cabinet, or hanging beside the sink. But here's the part most people never consider: softness in appearance doesn't always mean softness in energy. And in the case of trailing vines, that gentle look may be quietly disrupting the very thing you're trying to cultivate: flow, clarity, prosperity. In feng shui, direction matters. Energy, like air and water, wants to move naturally, rising, spreading, circling gently. Good energy lifts, it expands, it opens a space. But when you introduce too many downward movements, especially in places that should hold nurturing energy, things begin to change. Trailing vines, for all their visual appeal, create what's known as downward energy drag. Instead of lifting a room's energy, they pull it down, not in dramatic ways, but in slow, almost imperceptible ones. Until one day you realize the room feels heavier, your motivation dips. The kitchen feels less inspiring, more like a place you want to leave quickly. And you can't quite explain why. This isn't about fear, it's about sensitivity. Spaces speak in sensations. And your kitchen, where food is prepared, stories are told, emotions rise and settle, needs uplift. It needs rhythm, not sag. It needs momentum, not collapse. A plant that grows downward in long, tangled patterns introduces imbalance, especially when placed above a counter or dining area. The energy that should rise around your meals begins to descend instead. And over time, that changes the emotional tone of the room. You might love the look of a vine tumbling down from a shelf, but ask yourself what's happening underneath it. Is that area thriving, or is it where things pile up, go untouched, get forgotten? Often, where trailing vines grow, energy starts to stagnate. It pools, curls, gets stuck. And so do our thoughts, our habits, our emotions. Even if the plant is healthy, the direction of its growth shapes the space around it. That's not superstition, it's observation. Over and over again, I've walked into kitchens with beautiful plants, and yet, the energy feels flat, dull, like something's been turned down. And almost always, I find a trailing vine at eye level, pulling the room's energy down like a curtain. Once it's removed or trimmed or repositioned, the change is immediate. Light moves differently, people linger longer, conversation flows easier. Nothing was wrong, but everything feels more right. So what can you do? First, check where your trailing vines are growing. If they're above a cooking surface, a prep area, or a dining table, consider moving them. Let those areas rise. Let the energy lift. If you can't move the plant, trim it. Keep its growth tidy, contained, gently shaped, not wild or heavy. In feng shui, form matters because form affects flow. A vine that grows thoughtfully still holds beauty, but now it supports the space, not pulls it down. Second, pay attention to what's underneath the plant. Is it clean, organized, alive, or is it a forgotten zone, a dusty shelf, a cluttered corner? If the energy beneath the vine is stuck, the plant is reinforcing that energy, amplifying what already feels stagnant. Third, consider replacements. If you love greenery and movement, use plants that grow upward, not down. Upright ferns, snake plants, small palms, jade. Plants that visually lift the space, not pull it lower. This doesn't mean never use trailing plants, it just means don't use them where you need life to rise. And here's a subtle truth: when we choose plants that fall rather than rise, it can reflect something deeper in us. A desire to soften, to retreat, to let go. That's not wrong. But in spaces like the kitchen, where energy needs to be active, clear, and cohesive, it can send the wrong message. A message of collapse, of passive energy, of emotional drop-off. And those patterns affect how we move, cook, talk, eat, and even how we feel in our own home. You might be thinking, but it's just a plant. It's not that serious. And no, it's not. It's not serious. But it is subtle. And subtlety is where energy lives. That quiet unease you feel when walking into a room. That weight behind your eyes. That fatigue before dinner's even started. These aren't dramatic signs, they're whispers. And sometimes those whispers come from the things we overlook: the trailing plant hanging silently in the corner. There's no need to panic. Just observe, reposition, prune, shift. See what changes, not in theory, but in feeling. Try placing your vine lower, where its movement doesn't interrupt the energetic line of the room. Let it drape near the floor, or grow outward along a windowsill. Let it be horizontal, not vertical. Let it support the room's rhythm, not sink it. Because your kitchen deserves energy that moves freely and clearly. Energy that lifts you up when you're tired. That supports clarity when your mind is spinning. That holds love, warmth, and focus. And the plants you choose, no matter how quiet, contribute to that energy every single day. So ask yourself, is this vine here because it inspires me? Or because I got used to it? Does it lift the room or pull it down just a little more each week? These are small questions, but they can lead to meaningful shifts. Because beauty matters, but so does balance. And the kitchen you love, the one where food tastes better, conversations flow longer, and your heart feels steadier, begins with energy that rises, not falls. Sharp leaf plants look strong, feels cold at first glance. Sharp leaf plants look powerful. They stand tall, structured, with leaves shaped like spears or needles. Some of them are striking strong lines, deep greens, a kind of boldness that feels intentional. You might see them and think, this plant knows who it is. It doesn't bend. It holds its shape. And in a world where we're told to stay strong, be resilient, push through, these plants feel familiar. But here's the question: is that the kind of strength your home needs, especially in your kitchen? In feng shui, energy doesn't just respond to how a space looks. It responds to how a space feels. And sharp leaf plants, for all their visual appeal, often carry a kind of energy that is defensive, closed, controlled. Not because they're bad plants, but because of what their shape communicates: alertness, tension, boundary. Those are not the energies you want to multiply in a room that should nourish, gather, and restore. The kitchen is the heart of the home, not the battlefield, not the boardroom. It's the place where food is prepared with care, where routines become rituals, where warmth, not armor, is meant to flow. And yet, many homes place tall, stiff, needle-like plants in corners, on counters, near windows, thinking it will clean up the lines or add structure. And yes, it might look good, but how does it feel? That's where this issue begins to unfold. A pine-like plant in the living room might add elegance, but in the kitchen it often makes the space colder, less welcoming, more still. Over time, meals feel quieter, but not in a peaceful way. People say less, stay less, sit less. The room loses its warmth, not because anyone said the wrong thing, but because the environment no longer invites softness. Think of a tall cactus. Think of a Norfolk Island pine. Think of any plant whose leaves taper into points, whose form resists touch. These aren't plants that invite interaction. They stand at attention. And that's fine in the right room. In feng shui, form equals message. And in the kitchen, the message should be, come close, not, be careful. Now, this doesn't mean you should fear strong lines or structured plants. Structure has its place. Clarity has its value. But sharpness, when repeated and concentrated, becomes pressure. It makes people act more cautiously, less openly. And that tension, even if subtle, changes how you live in your space. There's also the matter of energy flow. Pointed leaves create what's known in feng shui as cutting kai. This is the kind of energy that breaks rather than blends. It interrupts flow rather than supports it. A spiky plant placed near where you eat, cook, or sit can create micro-tensions. You might not notice it the first week, or the first month, but the body responds. Your nervous system picks it up. That tiny edge of discomfort, the feeling of something's off, it accumulates. Now imagine instead a plant that curves, that softens the air, that leans toward you rather than away. The room feels different, doesn't it? That's the difference between passive invitation and active resistance. And in a kitchen, where energy should feed, not fight, that difference matters. And here's something else to consider. Sharp leaf plants, by their nature, can create a kind of emotional mimicry. If you live with them long enough, especially in a sensitive space, you may start to mirror their posture. You become more guarded, less open. You speak more directly but less warmly. That's not weakness, it's reflection. Our environments shape us quietly, repeatedly, and the plants we live with are part of that shaping.
So what should you do?
First, check where your sharp leaf plants are placed. If they're near your stove, sink prep area, or table, relocate them. Give that space back its softness. Move the plant to an office, a hallway, a corner that needs stronger structure but isn't tasked with emotional connection. Next, observe how you feel when you pass that plant. Is it beautiful but distant? Elegant but cold? Strong but slightly unkind? Trust that feeling. You don't need to remove every sharp plant, but you do need to balance it. Try pairing it with something round-leafed, a jade plant, a pothos, something that offsets the edge with gentleness. In feng shui, it's never about extremes. It's about balance, harmony, nuance. And remember, your kitchen isn't a place to perform strength. It's a place to receive it. Through nourishment, through rhythm, through presence. A plant that constantly asserts power shifts that dynamic. A plant that reflects openness strengthens it. If you love a sharp leaf plant for its design, its minimalism, its precision, there's room for that, just not in the heart of the home. Let your kitchen be a space where energy rests its shoulders, where people lean in, where meals don't just feed the body, but soften the day. Because sometimes, what looks strong actually hardens the room, and what feels soft might be the strength you've been needing all along. Cactus, one prick, and the energy bursts. There's something undeniably captivating about a cactus.
Its shape symmetry, its stillness.
It sits quietly, never asking for much, just light and the occasional drink of water. It doesn't shed, it doesn't wilt, it doesn't demand, and maybe that's why so many people place them in their homes, even in kitchens. A little pot, a little spiny sculpture. Clean, modern, easy. But behind that minimalist charm lies something most people don't feel until it's too late. A slow disruption to the energy that should be holding your home together. A cactus doesn't grow soft. It doesn't flow. It defends. That's its design. Its thorns protect it from the outside world. Its skin stores water in drought. Its energy is survival, sharp, alert, rigid. And while those traits are admirable in nature, they don't always translate well into the places we want to feel safe, warm, and open. Especially not in the kitchen, the energetic hearth of your home. Feng Shui teaches us that every object in a space speaks. It holds a frequency. It interacts with the environment around it. And cactus, for all its beauty, speaks in the language of defense. Its thorns send micro-messages to your body: be cautious, be distant, don't get too close. And over time, those messages change the tone of the room. They add an edge. You might not feel it immediately, but you'll start noticing the difference in how you move, how you speak, how long you stay in that space. The kitchen, more than any other room, needs wholeness, harmony. a flow that allows ingredients, people, and emotions to come together without resistance. The moment you introduce cutting energy that pierces instead of contains, you begin to fragment that flow. Cactus, by its very shape, creates disruption. Each spine is a tiny point of tension. Multiply that by every thorn, and you have a plant that, energetically, breaks more than it holds. It's not just about theory, you can feel it. A kitchen with a cactus near the stove, the sink, or the dining area often feels visually sharp. Not sleek sharp, less inviting, less comforting. It may look clean and intentional, but it doesn't feel like a place where people linger. It doesn't encourage gathering. And in feng shui, the feeling of a space matters more than the look. Some people say it's just a small cactus. What harm could it do? But energy isn't measured in size. It's measured in resonance. Even a small thorn can puncture an energy field if placed in the wrong spot. And in rooms where balance and warmth are key, like your kitchen, that little disruption creates ripple effects. You might find yourself getting impatient more often, feeling on edge during meals, avoiding the kitchen entirely without knowing why. These are not coincidences. They're responses to the unspoken messages in your space. And let's talk about emotional energy. Cactus is designed to survive, not connect. It mirrors back independence, hardness, distance. That might be empowering in an office. But in a home, especially in a space of nourishment, it reflects a kind of emotional austerity. You may start to feel more guarded, less expressive, even less generous. Not because of who you are, but because of what your space is mirroring back to you. Cactus also disrupts yang energy. In feng shui, yang is active, warm, flowing. It supports movement, clarity, connection. Thorns, on the other hand, scatter that flow. They slice through it, energetically speaking, causing a break in the rhythm of the room. Instead of yang building up, it leaks. That's why people often feel drained in kitchens with cacti, exhausted without overworking, tense without conflict. Does this mean you should never own a cactus? Not at all. Like every plant, cactus has a place. It's great for boundaries, for self-discipline, for clarity. But that place is not your kitchen. A cactus belongs in a home office, on a balcony, in a hallway that needs assertiveness. Somewhere its sharpness can serve a purpose, not disrupt a sanctuary. If you already have one in your kitchen, don't panic. Just relocate it. Gently, with awareness, move it to a space that benefits from its qualities. Then notice how your kitchen shifts. The light may feel softer, the room more open. Your body may relax without knowing why. That's how you know the energy is recalibrating. And here's the deeper reflection. Sometimes we choose spiky things when we feel the need to protect ourselves. We surround ourselves with objects that match our inner defenses. A cactus in the kitchen may reflect a phase of your life, a time when you needed strength, independence, self-preservation. But if you're now looking for softness, connection, flow, the space needs to change too. Letting go of the cactus is symbolic. It's a way of telling your home, I'm ready for warmth again, because that's what feng shui truly invites. Not perfection, not rules, but resonance. A cactus is not bad, but if you're craving peace in your kitchen, it may be too sharp. If you want meals that feel like rest, moments that feel like ease, and energy that moves like breath, not shards, then it's time to reconsider what your space is holding. So ask yourself, is the strength in your kitchen the kind that protects or the kind that pushes away? Does your space feel strong or just guarded? These are subtle questions, but they lead to powerful shifts. Because in a room built for nourishment, thorns don't belong. And sometimes healing begins not with what you add, but with what you're finally willing to move. Maybe you've never thought much about the plants in your kitchen before. Maybe they were just there, a splash of green, a quiet backdrop to the rhythms of your day. But now you've seen how even the smallest leaf carries weight. How energy shifts not just through movement, but through form, placement, and presence. Every plant we've explored today has a story, a message. Some hold energy in, others release it. Some invite connection, others guard space. And now you know it's not just about what looks good, it's about what feels right. The jade plant reminds us of steady growth. The pothos keeps things moving. Basil stirs the room with scent and softness. Snake plant protects what matters. Anthurium invites love back to the table. And then the ones we must place with care, the vines that pull energy down, the sharp leaves that push connection away, the cactus that silently punctures what should be whole. None of these plants are wrong, they're just mirrors of what we choose, of how we live, of where we are and what we're ready for. Maybe your kitchen has felt off lately, less alive, less light. Now you know it's not in your head, and it's not random, it's energy, and it can be restored. So today, I hope you feel more equipped not just to decorate, but to harmonize. Not just to place a plant, but to place it with intention. To walk into your kitchen tomorrow and feel the room breathe a little easier. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me. I know how many choices you have, and the fact that you chose to stay here, to listen deeply, means more than I can say. Whatever your kitchen looks like today, may it become a space where energy flows freely, where peace lingers longer, and where every meal carries more than flavor, it carries harmony. Take care of your space, and it will take care of you.